Hello guys, welcome to Wiser Pinoy TV. This is James Invilon, and the content for our video for today is about a reaction on the interview of Maria Ressa in an international news program in Germany. So this is a German Public Broadcast Service. So magre-react lang tayo based kung paano ni-report at ano yung content ng report at ano yung mga sinabi din ni Maria Ressa pertaining to the questions na tinatanong sa kanya. Because if you could remember last time, before the conviction of Maria Ressa, may mga question din siyang sinagot ng Australian ABC broadcasting company din na medyo mali, like 11 million employees, like that. So we will try to check also and react on the accuracy and of course the gaano katotoo ang mga sinasabi din ni Maria Ressa at yung report gaano din ka-accurate. Okay, let's start.
A court in the Philippines has convicted a prominent journalist of the crime of cyber-libel. Maria Ressa now faces up to 6 years in prison. Watchdogs have called the case a serious erosion of press freedom under President Rodrigo Duterte.
Award-winning journalist Maria Ressa arriving in court in Manila to learn her fate. The verdict, guilty of cyber-libel for a 2012 article her website Rappler published linking a businessman to human trafficking and drug smuggling.
By the way, before we proceed, yung verdict na guilty pala kang Maria Ressa is sa regional trial court level lang yan. So meaning, pwede pa rin niyang i-appeal ang decision ng regional trial court doon sa Court of Appeals, and if ever hindi pa rin siya papanigan ng Court of Appeals, then she has still the chance to appeal her case sa Supreme Court. And you know, Supreme Court as the court of last resort, so whatever the decision of the Supreme Court, yun na yung magiging final. Pero as of this moment, yung conviction ni Maria Ressa na guilty, wala pang finality yun. Subject for review. Depende kung i-appeal pa niya, but for sure i-appeal niya yan.
Ressa once worked for CNN and holds dual U.S.-Philippine citizenship. She says she's been devastated by the verdict, which she sees as a part of a government campaign against her and her publication.
Next year will be my 35th year as a journalist. I began as a reporter in 1986, and I have worked in so many countries around the world. I've been shot at and threatened, but never this kind of death by 1,000 cuts.
The case was closely watched as a test of press freedom under populist President Rodrigo Duterte. The court heard the libel complaint. The article in question was published 4 months before the cybercrime law was enacted.
Now, the Court of Appeals as well as the appellate courts will try to check if tama nga ang pag-apply ng law ng judge sa regional trial court. So we will see, because this is a very interesting event din sa life ni Maria Ressa, and of course sa plight din ng country natin as a democratic one.
Ressa and Rappler are not the only prominent Philippine media to face problems with the authorities. Last month, one of the country's leading broadcasters was shut down. Rights groups warned the country is entering dangerous territory.
It is indeed a very sad day for press freedom and democracy in this country. The larger impact of this ruling is that this sends a message to every journalist in the Philippines, particularly the poor ones in the communities in the provinces, that you better shut up or you're going to be next.
I would like to react also, no, you're going to shut up or you'll be the next. Well, it is true that we need to defend our press freedom as well as our freedom of expression because these are constitutionally guaranteed. Dapat din balance kasi yung function ng mass media is to really become a watchdog against the government or towards the government. But dapat din yung media meron din magre-regulate sa kanya. When it comes to veracity and the accuracy of the report. But gusto ko lang i-clarify na in this case, hindi po ang government ang nag-file ng cyber-libel against kay Maria Ressa, but it is an individual, si Mr. King, na he is a prominent businessman. He is very rich, na allegedly ay ginawa ng malicious report ng Rappler. So this is an incident wherein tinetest talaga din yung credibility ng mass media. And this time, nakitaan talaga ng fault ang mass media. Well, given na mayroon talagang merong alitan or na-politicize sila, but hindi naman din natin pwede na i-allege at saka i-accuse din yung court, particularly ang regional trial court, na-politicize din sila because they are constitutionally separated. Ang executive, ang judiciary, as well as legislative, they are separated. Now, even if there is influence by one branch to another and vice versa, but the Constitution also provides a separation to it as well as the guarantee of checks and balance. So, mahirap bilang isang citizen ng country natin na gusto natin na bigyan ng moment to shine and moment to explain both sides. Kasi accusative kasi is accusing the mass media of reporting not accurate news, as well as the mass media. They are also allegedly accusing the government of harassment and politicking. But me as an ordinary citizen, at alam niyo naman din yung mga Filipinos na yung freedom of expression natin dito is hindi pa ganoon ka-deprived because until today, we are free to express our opinions and our ideas pro or against the government. So, kung meron mang ding action ang government na parang sa atin na suppress yung mass media or yung press freedom, I think it's a consequence of in every action that we do, there is a corresponding consequence to that. So hindi ko naman sinasabi na i-praise mo yung government natin kasi hindi naman din perfecto ang government. Ang government natin is never perfect, but we really need to be balanced. Appreciate also the government. Ngayon nga, if you try to look at the Rappler's Facebook page, yung news nila is talagang napaka-biased. They are trying to I'm saying bias because they are really trying to insinuate and they are trying to imply something. I do not know if kayo din nakikita ninyo yan. But I'm not saying na deserve ng Rappler or ng personnel nila or ng executive nila na makulong. This is an accountability, a criminal accountability, no? With all fairness din ni Maria Ressa, in her 35 years of being a journalist, marami naman din siyang accomplishments. And ito nga din, napaka-sad fact and reality ng country natin because kahit gaano kalaki na yung na-contribute mo, if nagkamali ka ng isang beses, doon sila mag-focus sa mali. Well, applicable yan sa lahat.
Ressa now faces a prison term of up to 6 years. In spite of the verdict, she vows not to be silenced.
And Maria Ressa joins us now from Manila. Maria, what went through your mind as the judge read this guilty verdict against you?
It wasn't unexpected. If you look at it in the context of the 8 criminal charges I face, I had to post bail 8 times last year just to remain free. And then the slew of attacks against journalists that has intensified with the shutdown of the largest broadcaster just last month. I suppose I walked in feeling and knowing that there could be a worst case scenario that is even worse than this one. And so when I listened to it, I tried hard not to get angry and then to figure out how do we continue doing our jobs better given these attacks.
Are you prepared to go to jail?
Terry, this is a question I had to confront a while back because Amal Clooney actually just pointed out to me that the cumulative charges, the maximum jail penalty for all of them is almost 100 years. And so I think the question is that not challenging these cases would mean that I would give up the rights that are guaranteed in the Constitution, not just freedom of the press, but also the rights of Filipinos to information, to hold power to account.
Now, you say this verdict that's been handed down today is part of a campaign against you and your website, Rappler.com, by President Duterte and his government. What evidence do you have for such a campaign?
Before we listen to the answer of Maria Ressa, in fairness din sa news anchor, the interviewer, he is trying to be balanced and be fair. by asking Maria Ressa the evidence. Kasi yung claim ni Maria Ressa is this is part of the scheme of the government, silence me and to suppress. Pero yung tinanong niya is the evidence. Well, tingnan natin kung ano yung sagot ni Maria Ressa.
The actions of the government. Part of the reason Rappler came into the crosshairs is because we continued challenging the number of deaths in a very brutal drug war. The Commission on Human Rights in the Philippines estimates months ago that it was over 27,000 people killed. Impunity there. And then here,
I think that figure is very exaggerated naman din. Kasi yung against drugs is actually a policy laid down na maganda yung policy. Although may mga mali-mali lang din sa pag-enforce. Like may namamatay na mga allegedly mga drug users and drug pushers. Pero hindi naman kasi pwede na i-generalize din lahat na namatay 27 is biktima ng drugs or I mean, alam nating lahat kung paano ma-manipulate ang statistics or yung numbers, but tayong mga Filipino citizens, siguro may abuse, prone sa abuse lahat ng batas. Hindi lang din yung mga batas na ng current administration, but all laws existing are subject or prone to abuses. Pero para sa akin, it's too much. Medyo napaka-exaggerated din ng number. Kasi yung pagkasabi niya, hindi naman din siya certain. She is citing the Commission on Human Rights statistics. I do not know how accurate that one.
you can see that, we were under trial today, yes. The verdict came out today, but the justice system was also under trial because what's happened in the last few years is the weaponization of the law. The law tweaked legal acrobatics used against journalists, perceived critics, opposition. And in that sense, that also follows the kind of exponential attacks, what we call the propaganda machine on social media. So the narratives of the attacks come out first on social media, and then the law, the weaponization of the law follows. Come on, 8 cases that are all criminal charges, arrest warrants. I was arrested last year and detained. You can see these actions, and I think to not take them in a granular scale, because every single one sounds almost plausible. The attempt to shut down Rappler, to revoke our business license, happened in January 2018. And again, if you get lost in the details, sure, it sounds plausible, but when you look at the context of it, and the context today is overwhelming. It isn't just a chilling effect on media.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. What message do you think that your conviction sends to other journalists working in the Philippines?
I've been a cautionary tale. Rappler has been a cautionary tale for journalists in the Philippines. Be silent or you're next. That's what the government is saying. The government wants us to know it's got tremendous power, but it also wants to maintain a veneer of rule of law. And as long as it wants to maintain that veneer, we will continue doing our
I just want to react yung sinabi niya na we will be continuing our job and the like. Take note that the job of the mass media is not only to criticize the government in a destructive way, but its job also is to become the leverage of communication between the public and the government. So while its main function is to really see to it that the government is doing its best, and with all honesty, yung service na supposedly na i-deliver niya sa public. But then again, my point here is balance reporting. Dapat kasi balance din yung pagka-cite mo ng mga allegation. It should be supported and well researched, and at the same time yung mga report mo dapat diverse, hindi lang lahat negative, hindi lang lahat against the government, kasi ang connotation niyan, the mass media becomes the enemy of the government. Hindi naman ganyan yun, di ba? Ang government nga meron nga siyang sariling mass media, may PTV siya at iba pang means ng communication towards the public, because may to bridge the gap, kasi merong to fill in the gap, kasi may yung mga ibang mass media, they are only fond of citing errors in the government, but they failed also to give also good news sa government o yung mga accomplishment ng government. So here, the mass media under the government, sila yung nagpupuno ng mga pagkulang ng mass media. But even if there was a case filed against the Rappler, and even if the president was very vocal on the revocation of the license of Rappler, but still Rappler is still existing, and Rappler is still producing us news. And even ABS-CBN, even if the ABS-CBN was shut down, but it was only the frequency of ABS-CBN ang kinuha sa kanila. But still, ABS-CBN is working. They still have their cable channels. As a matter of fact, they're resuming now their shows sa Kapamilya Channel. At saka yung Facebook accounts at YouTube na platforms ng ABS-CBN are still existing and they are still doing the regular course of businesses. Ang nawala lang sa kanila is the frequency. So I cannot see also the point there. Bakit absolutely nire-relate natin na sinashut down ang press freedom sa mga mali-mali nila? Kasi hindi naman din excuse sa mali. Hindi naman ibig sabihin na mass media ka, na you have the noblest job to really check the government, ay excuse ka lang din sa mga legal consequences ng mga decisions mo. So, it sends us the message na dapat maging maingat tayo sa lahat ng bagay. Especially if you decide to become a critic of the government, might as well, you have to clean your own backyard first para wala ding mapuna sa'yo. Kasi napaka-unfair din naman. If you will critic the government will take all the blames, will take all the accusations. And case ka-government siya, wala na siyang karapatan na i-cite din ang error mo. So pag sinite na ng government ang error mo sa part mo, then you will shout for suppression. You will shout for, well, I don't think so that we are trying to make a healthy citizens of our country. What we are trying to promote is a crab mentality. Ang dami kong against sa government, sa administration ngayon. But hindi ko din madidiscredit na meron din siya mga positive. Just like also the mass media. The importance of mass media, I cannot say that mass media is not important. But as much as possible, we have to teach the new generation what a mass media should do and what mass media should function in our country. Hindi pwede na ganyan na lang palagi ang mangyayari, pagiging batuhan na lang ng mga mali. At pwede din bang we unite as a country, mass media promoting our country in the international community other than destroying its image? Kasi yun yung nangyayari. Yun yung nagiging pattern. And ako personally, as a citizen, I don't think so na nakakatulong ang pag-appear ng international news program and then trying to divulge kung ano man yung mga negative na nangyayari sa Philippines. Do part yan ng mass media, but you have also to think that before you become a mass media, you are a citizen of this country first.
Our jobs and pushing back and challenging these cases in court.
You mentioned earlier that you're facing other charges. There are numerous other charges. You could face up to 100 years in prison for all those. What motivates you to continue your work as a journalist in the Philippines under these conditions?
I think because, like you, we know something is happening at this time period, right? This is a unique moment in history. We're seeing a rise of authoritarian, populist-style leaders, a rise of fascism almost. And you're seeing the attacks on media. I don't think I've lived, and this is my 34th year. I'm an old journalist, you know, and I've never seen anything like this. I've worked in war zones, I've covered conflicts, but this is a whole different time period. And I feel like in my country, at least, we're standing on the precipice. And
Yun na nga yung point ko. You are a seasoned journalist. Dapat sa ngayon is nagme-mentor ka na sa mga young journalists of how to become a better and a responsible journalist. Kasi kung ganyan nangyayari sa'yo, ang dami-dami yung journalist, pero ikaw lang yung nag-struggle ng ganyan, ikaw lang yung nagkakaroon ng kaso ng ganyan, there must be something wrong with you. Kasi hindi lang naman din ikaw yung nagbabatikos ng gobyerno. Ang dami-daming journalist, ang dami-daming mga reporters, ang dami-dami kong mga kilalang mga mass media personnel na nagbabati ko sa government and they're trying to criticize the government, but wala naman silang kaso. Ikaw lang ang may kaso na ganyan. So, I don't think so na palagi mong gagamitin ang pagiging mass media personnel mo to cover up your own mistake also. I think it's about time also to man enough with your own responsibility and accountability to really cite na may error sa pagre-report ninyo. Like, what you did is, even if, take note, sa cyber-libel or sa libel case, kahit na tama or kahit na correct na drug user or murderer yung tao, but if the intention of reporting is not to inform but to malign or to maliciously destroy the person, that is punishable under the law. Kailangan malaman ng mga tao na hindi lahat ng totoo na nire-report ay tama ang pagkaka-report. Meron din tayong ethics protocol na ginagamit o pina-follow sa pagre-report just to avoid making the report into a libelous one. So, na-guilty ka because the court finds malicious and willfully and lawfully na mga unlawful rather na mga elements sa act mo way back 2012.
Must do all we can to protect press freedom, which protects our democracy.
Maria, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us today. That was journalist Maria Ressa in Manila.
I agree with her. It's our job. Lahat tayo, ordinary citizens, mass media, lahat tayo, it's our duty to really defend our press freedom and our democracy as well as our freedom of expression, because that makes us equal to the government. That makes us even more superior sa government natin as enshrined in the Constitution. Kasi yung authority ng government emanates from us. So tama din yan. Pero not in an abusive way, because too much na pag-exercise ng freedom natin could also cost our entire nation. And vice versa. Vigilant tayo dapat sa government natin, pero we will not destroy a government kung hindi siya deserve i-destroy. But given also that there are a lot of issues na engaged ng president natin, yes, we have all the freedom. I agree and I actually recognize the idea na dapat talaga natin na i-criticize ang president natin sa mga decisions niya. But with criticism, dapat kasali din dyan yung understanding the wisdom. Why? Because at the end of the day, kasalanan niya ng mga bumoto. And if you are using democracy as a term, part of it, so democracy is to respect the leaders that is a product of democracy, the election. Kasi pag ginagamit mo ang democracy and yet you do not know how to respect democracy, I do not know if that is the correct way of determining democracy. So, yun yan. Gusto ko lang din na mag-disclaim na whatever opinion ko, this is only my opinion. As much as possible, I know marami ding magagalit sa naging opinion ko, but then again, this does not stop me or anybody to express our opinion based kung ano yung pinaniniwalaan nating tama. Tolerance lang, and then understanding of different ideas. So, that's it. As a conclusion, I think hindi pa naman final ang verdict ng Maria Ressa. She could still appeal her case to the Court of Appeals, and apparently, pwede pa din niyang i-appeal yan sa Supreme Court if hindi din siya papanigan ng Court of Appeals. But then again, ang point ko lang din dito is we should not bash, we should not accuse the judge sa RTC na kung saan na desisyonan yung case ni Maria Ressa ng bias or instrument of suppression of press freedom, because again hindi press freedom ang issue dito. Kasi private individual ang nag-file ng case kay Maria Ressa. So again, ang press freedom can only be suppressed and can only be invoked if it's the government. Assuming the government is behind that, that's conspiracy and it's another story. Thank you very much, and for more video, please subscribe and click the bell, notification bell, so that you will be notified for my next video.